One thing about narcissists that we do know is they are all about control. Today I invite you on the journey to figure out how exactly to flip leverage on a narcissist, breaking free of their control. For those of you, if it's your first time, I welcome you. For those of you, if you're back, welcome back. My name is Joe. I'm an entrepreneur, investor, business, life, and relationship coach. Let's jump right into it. So let me just start off by saying that I know this is probably a very difficult topic for us. I mean, it's not really funny. It's quite serious, actually. There's nothing worse than knowing that you can come home to anything and it's unpredictable. And the other person knows that and they take advantage of it. And it's almost like, well, what are you going to do? I know you have to come home. Or what are you going to do? I pay all your bills. Or what are you going to do? We're married. Listen, I get it. I've been through it before. The details really don't matter. I've had a few occasions, but we just need to all realize sometimes we need to know that we're not alone, right? Because it's kind of a taboo topic, and there are a lot of people out there that haven't been through it, but just know you're not alone. There's a lot of people that you could talk to, support groups and whatnot. Just know there's always faith. There's always a way out, and there's always a way to get through it. I know it seems like you want to raise the white flag and it's hopelessness and nothing's ever going to change, but trust me, you're going to get through this. We're going to go over that today, and we're going to get started. So I started making these videos not too long ago because it was personal to me, right? And I always thought of relationships with a narcissist or someone of that sort like a game of chess. Now, I see a lot of things on YouTube, Instagram, and whatnot of people talking about narcissists and their doctors or people that have studied it. But it's almost like they've studied the game of chess, right? So you know what the move should be. You know how to anticipate what move they're going to make. But do you really understand the move your enemy is going to make unless you understand the way they think? And I think this is kind of big in terms of people that have gone through something. Once you're able to understand, and trust me, I'm going to get to my point of this, but once you understand your enemy, not only could you anticipate their moves, but you understand how they think. That is the first key to flipping the leverage on someone that's narcissistic. You really need to understand the way they think. Once you understand the way they think, you can play chess because you know what's coming, you know what move they're going to make, and you can even sucker them into making a move you'd like them to make so you could make your next move. And that's exactly what we're about to get into. So like I said, we got to understand, right? So let's start with this. We all know that they're very controlling. Now, maybe you're in a situation where they're controlling you financially, or maybe you work for them. Maybe you don't work at all and they pay all your bills. Maybe you guys live together. Maybe emotionally they've just got control of you. Emotional usually seems to be the biggest thing because we always want to wait around for that change that never ends up fucking happening, right? Trust me, I feel you. But we really, really need to get out of that and think fundamentally and understand these people, why they have to control people and why they start so nice to rope you in and then they take the mask off when you're stuck. I notice this a lot with clients when they move in with someone together because they can't leave, or after they get married because it's not so easy to leave. You've always got options, all right? We're going to get into that too. Just know there's always options. I don't have any options. Get yourself out of that mindset. But why do they do it? Well, they're afraid. They're very frail. And once you understand how childish and immature these people really are, you actually start to feel sorry for them because once they're exposed and they have no leverage on you, they're very weak. And it's actually quite sad, I noticed. It's very sad because once you understand them, it's amazing how much you can actually manipulate them to get yourself free. And then you start to realize who they really are, and they come off as charismatic, they come off as smart, charming, maybe a bit scary, but then you realize underneath it all, there's just a small little frail child that the whole time was just afraid of being left and that's the main thing. They're afraid of you leaving. That's why they go so hard to control you, because they're so afraid and so deep down they feel like they're not good enough that they'll do whatever they can to keep you from leaving them and them facing their biggest fear, even if it means sacrificing you and being abusive and disjustice towards somebody. which is crazy to believe, but we know they have that disconnect towards like not being able to love. And I never really understood why it's part of their personality. And that's the thing. They're incapable of feeling normal, right? So you're like, how could they just not fucking care about anyone but themselves and just go through life and not feel bad for anyone? And like, don't you want to do something nice for somebody, like even once? No, because you start to understand that they just genuinely don't have that mechanism in their brain that links that together like you do. So that's the first thing you got to get. They're not normal, okay? Stop holding them to standards of somebody that isn't capable of those standards you're looking at, right? Do you expect a 3-year-old to pay your property taxes? No. Why? They're incapable of doing it. I don't want to go to that extreme necessarily, but you got to kind of gauge it that way. That's your first step to re-leveraging. You've got to be able to understand where this person's head's at. And what's great about it is we know that they're all about their ego, right? So once they start to feel like they're losing, and you always want to fight with them. You want to fight. And that's the biggest thing. You want to fight for what you stand for. You want to fight back. I don't deserve to be treated this way. And it just causes them for their grip to get stronger and stronger and stronger on you when you do that constraint, right? Which makes sense because we know narcissistic people are all egotistical. So let's think of it this way. So I know that when I am abiding by their rules, let's say, or doing what they want, they become vulnerable. So what we know is if they're so egotistical and that's what makes them vulnerable and that's what causes them to let their guard down and not to be all over you about what you're doing because there's no red flags, what causes them to act and what draws red flags for them in their mind is when you fight back. When they think they're controlling you, they're vulnerable. That's when you could do the work behind the scenes to flip the leverage and plan your exit. I could assure you always have options. The first thing that you really want to do is, I know you get isolated. Some of you may have been isolated. I've been it before. They always try to keep you away from certain people. Put yourself around people that care about you as much as you can. And don't sit them down and just say, hey, listen, I'm in a relationship with a narcissist, because then, it's hard because people think you look crazy, maybe you exaggerate, mentally unstable, whatever the case may be. Start having conversations about things and start dropping little hints. Believe it or not, people are smarter than you think. They start to catch on, and then they're going to start to get concerned, and they're going to make sure they check in with you. And they're going to want to know how you're doing, and then they're going to start offering help. Everyone's got their own situation. Some of you may be more severe than others. So there's no clear-cut way for me to say, hey, you have to do A, B, and C to get out of the situation. I've had clients that were married. I've had clients that had jobs. I've had clients that, were just boyfriend and girlfriend. So any of you that want to reach out, I'd be more than willing to help you. Send me an email, drop a comment, whatever you want. But you've always got options. But the main thing is, most of the time, part of a narcissistic control and leverage is that they try to isolate you from friends and family. Not to say you have to repair it back to normal, but they're probably going to be glad that you started to reach out to them. And they probably know you're already struggling. Believe it or not, these people that care about you are smarter than you think, and they probably already think something's going on. So believe it or not, there's probably help closer than you think. Just give it a try. Casual conversation, drop little hints, little like red flags that something's going on without being so straightforward about it. They'll catch on. And trust me, people are always willing to help people in distress in these situations. I see it all the time. You always think it's helplessness, there's no options. But if you really want to find a way out, there's a way out. So, biggest thing. We want to get relieved of any sort of control they may have on you. I don't know what the control may be. For many of us, it's just emotional. For some of us, we live together, and that's a big hurdle because you're like, all right, both of our names are on this lease maybe, and like, what am I going to do about new furniture, blah, blah, blah. The easiest way is to really up and just get your own place. Maybe you can stick it out before the end of the lease. If you have money to get your own furniture, maybe you just say screw it and move in with a family member temporarily until you can get yourself together and say nothing's worth the abuse, guys. That's the thing. You may be like, I don't want to do that. I'm 35 years old. I'm starting over. All right, so you're just going to stay like that for the rest of your fucking life? Me personally, can't put a price on that. You could always make more money. Time is limited. You don't want to look back 20 years from now and wish that you did something when you could have. Maybe you were still young enough. There's always time, and there's always time to start over. But the longer you prolong it, the harder it's going to be to jump out that window. So the main thing is, guys, you want to make sure that you relieve any possible control that they have over you from leaving. Financially, maybe you guys live together, maybe you share furniture together, whatever the case may be. You want to put them in a position where no matter what happens, it doesn't give them a reason for you to come back. Now, you can argue over stuff back and forth, but be prepared to be the bigger person with a lot of things, because first of all, you don't want to be reminded of some of the stuff. And second of all, you just don't want to deal with them, because anything that they can hold on to make your life miserable, they're going to. So anything during this process that you can ex-nay their control over, do it. Some stuff I understand you're not going to be able to completely because some of you have different circumstances. But if it's possible for you to ex-nay their control over you, do it. All right? All while we're stroking their ego. Now, I'm not going to say stroke their ego, but what I mean is don't draw any red flags. Don't fight back with them. Look like you're compliant. All right? These narcissists love people that obey, right? Do it their way. Don't argue with them because they're the dominant person, and that's how they like to feel. And once they feel like you're obeying them, their guard comes down. So they're not up your ass. They're not as suspicious. They're not following you. They're not tracking you because you're obeying, right? So now you really do love them. There's nothing to worry about. I know it sounds fucking asinine. It should be the opposite, right? That's why I'm saying it's like it's so hard, but it's so easy because it should be the opposite. But to them, it's not. So that's the great thing about it. So you stick it out for a little while. You get the control aspects, as many of them as you can, disconnected. And then you plan your move. This is where you have been in contact with these people that by now should tell you, if you ever need a place to stay, if you ever need anybody, reaching out to you regularly, offering, to help, that you've dropped comments to. Should start to catch on by now. This is when you reach out to these people and say, listen, this is what I'm going to do. I do kind of need some help now. Maybe not from you, but help as a plan. You get a plan together behind the scenes, little by little. There's 10 steps to get out. Do one a day, do one a week, whatever it is. Just do it in silence. Cover your ass. Be careful about it. Don't leave any trails. Don't leave any red flags, all while playing the part. I know this sounds crazy, but it's the easiest way to get out. Play the part. Don't let them think anything's going on. And then you set it up. When your plan is bulletproof and it's all together, you wait until they're not around. Maybe they went on a business trip. Maybe they're just at work and you take the day off. And in one full move, swiftly, you just go. All right? Then after that's when we get into no contact. Everything's going to be a little more complicated after that. But I mean, if you can get out and cut them off completely from all aspects of contact, that's the best way to do it. But like I said, everyone's situation is different. We can get into the steps of what to do after in another video because I don't want to keep you guys too long. We can also get into some more details of exactly how to plan the move out. But I do thank you guys for joining me for this video yet again. Just remember, keep that face on, flip the leverage, keep them vulnerable. That's when narcissistic people are vulnerable, is when they think you're complying. Once you stop complying, they raise their head up, they perk their ears up, and they start to think something's off. So, do what you got to do. Get out. There's always options. Reach out to those people that you haven't been speaking to. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to drop them down below. I'm always willing to help people free of charge, not even for service, that are in these situations, because I've been in them myself. I want to thank you guys again for joining me for another video. Any topics you want me to expand on in this video, drop them below as well. If not, check you guys on the next video.